Alright me lovers, it is October, spooky season, so I thought what better video to do than show you 10 of my most unusual, spooky, alien-like plants and 5 of my wish list alien unusual plants that I want to. So let's get to it. So the first plant I am going to show off is my begonia amphyxis. It is in a terrarium, as I have found that these plants really enjoy growing in a terrarium-esque like thing. This one does have an open top, but seems to be liking this environment. I find this one relatively unusual as it has these awesome polka dot leaves, really crinkly around the edges, and a striking red contrast to the green leaves. They grow really spindly and just really weird. So what better plant to kick off my 10 unusual plants than this begonia amphyxis. Super weird, grows super weird too. Such an awesome plant as well. Next is a plant I definitely show off a lot, but I cannot not bring it into this category, and that is my Coleus limewire. I just think these unusual shaped leaves, and again the striking contrast of the purple and green just really makes this plant super unusual, super alien-like. I just think this plant, if you were to draw an alien plant on another planet, you would draw something like this. Now you're gonna have to bear with me on the next one. I'm gonna say it's unusual because it does have a really unusual look to it, but also it is an outdoor plant typically. So I've brought it indoors to make it an indoor plant, which adds to the more unusual houseplants because it's not usually a typical houseplant. And that is this Sephora. And I had to bring it in because the way it grows and the way the leaves are on the stem is pretty unusual. It is pretty different. It is an evergreen outdoor shrub, but you can have them indoors, and a lot of people grow them as a bonsai indoors, which is what I'm doing here. It just has really jaggedy, intricate twigs as well, which adds to its unusualness. This one's kind of like a hear me out one, but I think it's definitely worth showing off in this kind of category because it is for sure an unusual houseplant, and not many people have one of these. Now, this next plant is definitely one you have seen before. It is almost, maybe you could argue, a very classic houseplant, and that is the Peeler peperomioides. And how can I not bring this up in this video? I mean, it is so alien-like, it is so unusual. My one has this really weird growth points on its stem. It's definitely dwarfed itself because I have not repotted this plant in about maybe like 3-4 years, so it's definitely dwarfed itself. Nevertheless, it's grown this new baby this year, which has already come right up. So I definitely have to show this guy off in this kind of category for the most unusual alien-like plant, because how can you not look at this and think, oh my god, that plant is weird as hell. So such a cool plant, definitely one to have if you don't have it. Next on the list is something that can grow into a giant tree, and that is the Madagascan palm. I chose this one because look at its trunk. It is full of spikes and it always has a top heavy foliage, so it would never have the foliage on the stem, and therefore will have an exposed spiky stem and a top heavy palm-like leafing. I think this one's really cool, really different, really unusual. Kind of reminds me of a monkey puzzle tree from outdoors. In the name, these guys come from Madagascar, grow wild over there, but these can grow into ginormous trees. But it takes quite a long time for it to get to that point, and I really can't wait to see it when it's at that point, because I think it's when they are giants, that's when they look even more unusual and even more alien-like. So if you know me, you also know that I have a love of ferns, and there is one fern in particular that I love to have and that I really want to grow the collection on, and that is the staghorn fern. Now each staghorn fern is a different type. Excuse the water dripping, I literally just watered this guy. I had to show off the staghorn ferns only because I love them and I love any excuse to show them off. but they are so alien-like and so unusual. They're absolutely beautiful plants too. And I just think the way that they grow and the way that they hold on to objects and throw the shields up and the fronds, how can I not call this a super unusual plant and a really cracking one too? So I had to have the excuse to show off a staghorn fern. How can I not? Now, another begonia I really want to bring up in this conversation is this begonia dredgii. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I mean, when am I ever sure I'm saying a plant name right? But I have to show this off because similar to the Amphixus, it has these really elongated, triangly, pointy leaves, and it grows with like a weird tree-like structure where its stems are super thick. So hence I have got this in a little pot. It's become a little bonsai tree, and I just think it's so unusual and so different. This one does flower quite a lot as well, which is really pretty. I just think this one's really, really cool. I really like how the stems from the leaves are this really pale pink color, and then contrasting to the green leaves. So this is a begonia dredgii, and again, a really cool, stunning, unusual plant there. Next plant I want to show off is the Genera Aurantiaca. Again, excuse if I can't say that right. Purple passion, that's a lot easier to say. And the camera will not do it justice, but this plant has a really velvety purple coverage on the leaves, and they're so soft. All of the new leaves are so soft to touch. The purple kind of dissipates as the leaves get bigger. Brand new leaves, looks like they've just been dusted with fake grass kind of thing, what model people do. And it's such an unusual plant and so cool. It's really, really easy going too. This is such an unusual plant. Really good one for a spooky season because it kind of looks like a bat wing at the same time, but very alien-like too. So yeah, definitely had to show off this guy. The next plant in my unusual plant collection, I would say, is this Philodendron bilieti, however you say this name. Now, I say this is such an unusual plant. One, because look how it grows. And two, again, for me, what makes houseplants so unusual is when they have like two really different striking colors. So I love these pale yellowy orange stems and then that green leaf. And the camera doesn't really do it justice, but it has the same color as a stem, kind of hued around the edge of the leaf. I also just love how long and pointy these get. As they grow older and mature, the more elongated they become. And I'm so obsessed with those kind of leaves, and you'll see the plant in my wish list section. I have a theme occurring. I find plants like this really, really cool, really unusual, different to your typical leafy houseplant. The more extreme they get in their narrowness, the better they are. I find them amazing. I can't wait to see this new leaf come out, and it looks like an absolute stalker, and it's going to be a massive leaf and hopefully super long and elongated too. Last but not least, and please bear with me on the name, is my Clanelia staphyliformis, commonly known as the pickle plant. And yes, how could I not end on this absolute stonker of a plant? I mean, look at this and how it's grown. How could I not call this an unusual plant? It is so alien-like, and it has grown so crazy, so weird. It reminds me of salad fingers, and also that kind of creeps me out at the same time. But this plant is super, super unusual. It has a beautiful texture on the stems, and you can kind of see where it gets the nickname pickle plant from the littler stalks or the ones that go straight up. It does flower and it has these beautiful red flowers, which again are so unusual. This one hasn't flowered yet and I'm so excited to see when it does, if it does. How crazy is this guy? It's so cool, so different, so unusual. And yeah, had to bring this up and end on this one because I think this is the most unusual plant I have out of my whole collection. So next we're going to move on to 5 really unusual plants that I really would love to have. Comment down below some of your favorite plants so far, or tell me some of your most unusual plants too. So first on my want wish list in the unusual plant category is an Alocasia platinum. I love the metallic look of this plant. How can you not look at this plant and think that looks like an alien spaceship kind of thing? It looks incredible. The vining on its leaf as well, it just looks so cool. I love how pointy these leaves are too. So really can't wait until I get my hands on this kind of plant. Sticking with Alocasias, another one similar, but definitely different and unusual too, is the Alocasia sculprum. You can see the similarities between this one and the platinum. They both have those pointy leaves. I told you I have a theme of love of plants, but this one's really cool. This one gets even elongated than the platinum. Again, I think it's like the veining on this leaf that I absolutely adore. I think I also really love the darkness of this leaf and the kind of leaf color it gives. It's a really spooky plant, kind of makes me think of like vampires and bats. Definitely a plant I would love to own, so I'm keeping my eyes out for one for sure. Next is a wish list plant that I have mentioned a multitude of times and I will probably never stop saying it until I own it, and that is the Philodendron Spiritus Sancti. Now you could argue the philodendron ability is quite close to this plant, but no, it is one of a kind, such a unique plant on its own, and why it's so hard to get hold of. They keep getting poached from the wild, so they are in tissue culture, which is amazing, and I cannot wait to one day finally own one of these plants. I mean, look at it, it is spindly, elongated, contrasting colors. Oh, it's just a plant that really gets me going. It is so cool of a plant. I love it so much. Now, another plant I've kind of been wanting for quite a long time is a blue oil fern. Now, these are so alien-like, so unusual. I mean, the blue greeny hues on their leaves kind of reminds me of like a magpie and their feathers and how they act in the light, but they are so beautiful. You can kind of see where it gets the nickname of the blue oil fern, with that kind of sheen, oily sheen on its leaves. An unusual plant and very alien-like too. About to make an absolute fool of myself with this last name, but the Anthurium cleidomoides. Okay, I don't know if I said that right, but there we go. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Just look at it, okay? This Anthurium is beautiful. It is such a hard one to get hold of. It also needs such an acute atmosphere to grow in. It needs like super high humidity. It is such a temperamental Anthurium. Definitely not one for beginners, but it's so beautifully unusual. All the bumps going on its leaves and the darkness. Oh, again, a really awesome plant that really gets me going. It is so cool, and hopefully one day I will be able to own one of these. It's definitely sticking onto my wish list for sure, and one day I'll be able to give it the perfect home that it will need. And it is one that I'm going to wrap up my want/wish list of plants, because this is such a good high note to end on. So, me lovers, happy October, happy spooky season. If you want to see the wish list for 2025, you can check that video out there, and I'll see you then, me lovers. Bye.